Introduction by Mark K. Gamiao. When I was a kid, back in the early 1980s, my mom introduced me to a book. I was the type of young boy that would rather play with action figures and video games, but this is no ordinary book. This was a brand new series called Choose Your Own Adventure, and the book my mom gave me was titled Space and Beyond. Now, the book didn't read like you would a standard novel. At certain points in the story, you are given a set of choices of what action or direction should the character and story take next. This innovative approach to storytelling is what largely intrigued me and inspired me to seek out similar books and other standard novels. Reading became a favorite pastime of mine, and when there were no more books to be read that captured my interest, I took up another hobby, writing. I figured if I enjoyed reading a book sometimes and did not like how the story concluded, I could write my own ending. I sometimes wonder if the blank pages at the end of some books are meant for just that. Or was it there to fill the book's required page quota? I don't know. I would later discover what is called fan fiction, which stemmed from people's ideology and wishful thinking on how existing IP characters would be like if they had the chance to write them. I would write several stories, both original and fan fiction. Sadly, however, most were never read by others other than myself. With the introduction of the video camcorder, I soon found another passion, filmmaking. I was then able to combine my two favorite things and record a series of video shorts collectively known as MGTV. Not long soon after, I enrolled in a community school class on the intro to filmmaking. It was where I met my future filmmaking teammates and had a few episodes of At Random and a small length feature film titled Sword Fighter that aired on our local public access channel. You may find some of those videos still up on YouTube. However, in the spring of 2020, when the COVID-19 pandemic reached our shores, we were ordered to shelter in place. Our plans to do in-person, on-location filming were put on indefinite hold. But there are other ways to continue our aspirations and film projects. Social media apps like Facebook, Skype, Discord, Zoom, and email allowed us to continue, coordinate, and share our projects from home. Together, we were able to complete a live-action show called Paranormal Watch Party and its episodic stock photo podcast counterpart, Paranormal Party. 4 years later, we are still pitching ideas for shows, albeit a bit of a struggle. I myself have come up with several projects, at least outlines thereof, but sadly, none have come to fruition. The closest and most promising prospect was a podcast series based and adapted from a playthrough of a board game called Zombicide. Using the collective dialogue that were said during the gameplay and actions of combat and mission objective to help shape the story, I wrote what I hoped to be a fun, action-packed series. However, only 2 episodes in, and perhaps loss of interest or other more important things in life may have prevented us from continuing that 10-mission campaign. Well, perhaps we'll pick up the dice again and play, as they say. Which finally brings us to this book, this podcast, Feed, an Undead Horror. Not Since a Girl Named Dee, a short film that I wrote, co-directed, and co-starred in 2010 that ultimately saw its release on YouTube in 2020, did I humbly feel is my best writing to date. Certainly not my greatest of acting, but acting never really was my forte. To say this book will be equal to or surpass A Girl Named Dee as far as writing achievement goes is testament to my measure of skill. Unlike some of my previous attempts, I have a clear vision of what my characters are like and where their story is ultimately headed. And the belief in challenging myself to improving aforementioned skill can only come with each word that I write. Make sense? Okay, I've rambled on long enough. Feed, an Undead Horror, is a survival story set in a fictionalized California at the start of a viral outbreak. This tale of a zombie-like apocalypse is inspired by shows like The Walking Dead, Black Summer, Train to Busan, and All of Us Are Dead. Similar to what cordyceps or zombie fungus is to the Last of Us video game and TV series, the premise of my outbreak is ghrelin. Ghrelin is a hormone primarily produced by enteroendocrine cells of the gastrointestinal tract, especially by the stomach, or especially the stomach, and is often called a hunger hormone because it increases the drive to eat. In my story, our two main protagonists, John and his niece Kaylee, are an odd duo. While they both share a common interest in the fashion and pageantry of a comic convention, John is outgoing and eager to meet new people. The introvert Kaylee, however, would rather sit behind her computer screen or a VR headset and throw trash talk with the sometimes toxic online gaming community. While these characters may not be trained for combat, like say a Marine or police officer, I wanted to have them. I wanted them to have some rudimentary knowledge on how to survive and defend themselves. You will discover as you delve deeper into the story that I've drawn some parallels to the real world. There will be similarities between certain activities and places, but to avoid any legalities and infringement, I've taken a few liberties as to how they are presented. The story will be told primarily from the perspectives of our two protagonists as they navigate the mundane hustle and flow of the average metropolitan city to the dangers of a hostile post-apocalyptic world. Disclaimer: this is a work of fiction. Unless otherwise indicated, all the names, characters, businesses, places, events, and incidents in this book are either the product of the author's imagination or used in a fictitious manner. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events is purely coincidental. Warning: parental guidance suggested. Some material, such as graphic violence and the use of profanity, may be inappropriate for children under 13.